Good evening, everyone. This is July the 4th, and I need to share this. Behind me is a very special picture, and I was able to have it printed as the same dimensions as the original painting that Gavin Kirkham, of the Secretary of the Open Air Mission in the UK, he used a similar picture as this, same size, preaching on the streets of Britain and in churches and various places in the UK and sometimes, I think, on the continent. And this is the size of the picture, and it's been an ambition of mine for a while to be able to have a similar picture, because the dimensions are 12 foot by 9 foot, and you can imagine the logistics involved with carrying such a picture around. The UK, as I expect, Gavin Kirkham would have used the trains and the transport system of the times, and he had an assistant as well, so it's pretty remarkable, isn't it? I mean, if you look at the statistics that he collected as he went around preaching in various places in the UK, you'd realise this is this is a tall order for anyone, and he did that for a very long time until he was 59 years of age when he passed away. And he preached with this picture, this size, in Sheffield just 6 days before he passed away. So it gives you an idea of his commitment to the gospel. And here's a very special story behind this picture. Why did Gavin Kirkham use this picture and as a means, an evangelistic tool? It's very interesting to read about what he shares about the picture and how he came to use it as a visual aid in preaching the gospel. And it wasn't without effect. He had collected, over the years, people would send letters of appreciation and testimonies how people came to the Lord through his ministry with the picture. So if anyone's interested in this way of preaching the gospel and interested in history, this is a fascinating subject, a fascinating part of British history, evangelical history. I don't know if everybody knows about this, but I'm trying to share it as much as I can, because I think it's special. I think it's special to the Lord, and it's special to the church history. We need to remember the good things that God has done in the past. We've got enough depressing news in the world today without adding to it. So this is good news. We've got good news, and it's wonderful to see historical reminders such as this picture. And it's a great pleasure. I'm thrilled. It's been my ambition for a number of years to get hold of a picture, or create a picture, or paint a picture, something like this size. And as a remembrance, so we need to do that also. So this is my Ebenezer, as it is, as a picture, remembering what God has done in the past through men of God like Gavin Kirkham. So I hope this has whetted your appetite to learn more about the picture and the Ministry of Open Air Missions and Gavin Kirkham. Thank you for listening. So I managed to turn the camera round so you can have a proper look at the picture, which I had printed today, and it was printed on fabric. It's a very light fabric, and it's very light, and it can easily be carried in a plastic bag, a carrier bag, and it doesn't crease, which is also very useful. Gavin Kirkham, he had a number painted by hand, and each successive picture that he had painted, he enlarged, and this size is the final size, being the fact that smaller size, he wasn't able to reach as many people in the crowds and multitudes of the streets and various places. He would often go to the Epsom races, horse racing events, and I would think he would have had a stand there for his picture, and he'd be using it to reach the horse racing fraternity. So it's got a wonderful history behind the picture. If anyone is interested, you go to my website and you can find an explanation and a history of the picture that was written by Gawain Kirkham, and he had the explanation of the picture, which was written by the original designer, Mrs. Charlotte Ryland of Stuttgart in Germany. He had her explanation of the picture translated into English, so that is there also. So if anyone is interested, you're welcome to go over and check it out. So yeah, I mean, the history of the picture is amazing. I'm trying to remember the important parts. Might be a bit too much for this small video that I'm making now. But let's just go into and see the detail of the picture. Of course, I'm delighted with the picture, the way it's been printed. I mean, the detail is fantastic. This is from an original print that was printed during those times when Gawain Kirkham was alive, and he had thousands printed, and they were like this. This is the second print that he had, which was a more colourful version. The first print he had was what would be called a tinted print, which would have been tinted by hand with watercolour. So the second edition, which is this, was the latest technology. I think it's 7 colours, or I think it was. So there you are, to give you some idea of the background to the picture and the detail. I mean, the original print is very actually small, and I mean, that's the technology in those days. They couldn't make anything really any much bigger than what they did, but it had its effect, and it sold by the thousands. People would send them all over the world, to the 4 corners of the world. This picture's been found. So, and it's all to do with Gawain Kirkham's ministry. He was the General Secretary of the Open Air Mission in London, and he would be preaching throughout the British Isles and beyond. And this was his picture, and he would call it his Dutch picture because it's when he first saw a copy of this design, when he went to the Evangelical Alliance conference in Holland, in Amsterdam, in 1868. So he saw this in the bookshop where he was staying, and each day he would come and walk past the window, and he'd see the picture in the window, and it fascinated him, and he wanted to know what the story was behind the picture. So by and by he was able to secure copies of the explanation in Dutch, and he had a Dutch friend to translate it for him into English. So when he had this idea to have larger copies painted, and he would go and preach with them. And this was the final size. 12 foot by 9 foot was a size that he was satisfied was the most to get an impact, especially in crowds and multitudes of people. And so this picture, this size, was the one that he wanted to reach as many as possible. So, yeah, I mean, we've got the Broadway, and on this side, and then we've got the narrow way on this side, and in the foreground we have a place of decision, really. I mean, people were making up their minds which way are they going to go, the broad way, the broad gate, or the narrow gate and the narrow way. And each scene has scriptures to help us understand what the message of the picture is about. So, and this is what Gary Kirkham would use preaching in open airs in Britain. Fascinating, isn't it? And I better close now because my cell phone is running out of space. But I hope you've enjoyed this little introduction. Very exciting for me. It's the first opportunity I've had to see the picture on this size, and it looks amazing. So there we go. Thank you for listening.